Hello, second grade. So, in our history, we are going to start with chapter 40, and we just have a few more chapters left in history before we are done, which is exciting. Chapter 40 is called Rome Begins to Weaken. And so there are two sections, and we're going to do the first section today. The first section is called the British Rebellion. So I'm going to read to you like I did last time and then ask you some questions, and then there'll be a worksheet that you have to complete at the end of this. So this chapter is all about when Rome started to weaken, which means that Rome started to decline and wasn't doing as well as it was before. So I'm going to start reading for you now. Okay. When Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus were in charge of the Roman Empire, Rome was strong and prosperous. But bad emperors like Nero started to weaken Rome. Even worse, some of the countries that Rome had conquered began to resist Roman rule. They wanted to be free again. The Celts, who lived in Britain, had never liked Roman rule. And the Romans had never managed to control all of the British islands. Some of the Celts obeyed Roman laws and paid taxes to the Romans, but others rebelled. One of these disobedient Celtic tribes was particularly annoying to the Romans because their leader was a woman. In ancient times, women weren't considered to be brave or strong. Men thought it was very embarrassing to be beaten by a woman. But the leader of the Celtic tribe was no ordinary woman. She was a powerful warrior queen named Boadicea. A Roman writer named Cassius described Boadicea. She was very tall, taller than a man, and her voice was strong and powerful, loud enough to echo from mountain to mountain. She had fierce, piercing eyes and long, thick, red-brown hair that hung down past her waist. She wore a billowing tartan cloak and a thick gold collar around her neck. Boadicea refused to make her tribe part of the Roman Empire. Instead, she led the Celts in raids on the Roman settlements. The Romans seemed powerless to stop them. They even raided the biggest Roman settlement in Britain, Londinium. Later, this Roman settlement became the city of London. Soon the Romans in Britain were terrified of Boadicea and her warriors. The Roman citizens who lived in the settlements started telling each other that they had seen strange things, signs that Rome was doomed to be defeated by the Celts. The Statue of Victory fell face down without being pushed. A woman claimed that she had seen the sea turn red as blood. Other people said that they saw a ghost town in ruins near Londinium. And a man insisted that he had heard strange shrieks and yells coming from an empty Roman theater. Did these strange things really happen? Probably not, but the stories show how nervous the Romans were about Boadicea. Boadicea collected more and more Celtic warriors around her. Soon there were 100,000 British marching down on 10,000 Romans. That means that there was one Roman for every 10 British fighters. Just before the final attack, Boadicea rode around and made a famous speech to all her warriors. "We British are accustomed to having women in command," she shouted. The gods will grant us revenge against the Roman invaders. I plan to win this battle, or die trying. Let the men live as slaves to the Romans if they want to, but I refuse to live in slavery." Then the Celts attacked. They rode into battle without any plan. They charged in at top speed, each soldier doing exactly what he wanted. But the Romans stayed together. They did what their general said. Even though they were outnumbered, they won. The victory in Britain was only temporary, though. Soon the Romans were forced to leave Britain altogether. Today in Britain, you can still see the ruins of the Roman walls and roads. Those ruins are all that is left of the Roman settlements in Britain. All right, so that was the first section. And again, the first section was called the British Rebellion. The first question is, do you remember the names of two strong, powerful leaders of Rome? And that is something we talked at the beginning. So who are the two strong, powerful leaders of Rome? That was Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus. Next question is, were the emperors after them strong too? True or false? So, no. So many were weak. Many of the emperors after Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus were very weak. They were not very good people either, because the Roman people and even Christians did not like those Roman emperors. Who lived in Britain? Who lived in Britain? So the Celts, Celts, the Celts lived in Britain. Did Rome control all of Britain? No, Rome did not control all of Britain. They only controlled part of Britain. Next question is, who was the leader of the rebellious Celts in our story? So who was the leader of the rebellious Celts in our story? And I'll give you a clue. It was a woman. What was her name? Boadicea. Boadicea. Why were the Romans embarrassed to be beaten by Boadicea? Well, they were embarrassed to be beaten by Boadicea because she was a woman, and they did not like that. Let's see. Do you remember any of the strange things that were supposed to have happened when the Celts were attacking the Romans? There were a couple of things that were happening that were very, very strange. And they're not sure if they happened, but they might not have, but they still listed them. So one of the things was the Statue of Victory fell face down without anyone pushing it. The sea turned red as blood. A ghost town in ruins was seen near Londinium, and yells came from an empty theater. There was a huge empty theater, and people heard someone yelling from there, but it was empty. Or so they say it was. The next question is, were there more Romans or more Celts? Were there more Romans or more Celts? So there were more Celts. Why did the Romans win? Why did the Romans win? So the Romans won because they obeyed their general and fought together. So Boadicea and her army, they all spread out and they were all over the place trying to fight the Romans. But the Roman general told the Roman soldiers to stay together and fight together. And so the Romans did what their general told them to do, and they won the war. They won against the Celts. So that is the first lesson. If you need more help, please email me or leave a comment, and I'll be happy to help you. Now you have a worksheet for this first section. You can complete that and then submit it. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye.